Gamers. Welcome to the first ever DG Roundtable. We have some guests from the pod making a repeat appearance. Gentlemen, how's it going today?
Hi.
No, it's going absolutely well. Yeah, happy to be here. Yeah, this is kind of cool. Kind of pulling everybody together. You know, it's the group podcast.
Seeing real faces, not just Discord usernames, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. So really want to kind of kick us off, and I want to talk about what we are just saying of like, we're coming together here. Obviously, you guys have all been on the pod, but y'all haven't met before, and you know we're in this whole ecosystem together. But what's it like to like be a part of it, where it's kind of anonymous, and we're still trying to make friends, and like now we're getting to put faces to name. Like, what's that like? What's the experience been like?
Well, I think it's been like such a big part of every project I've joined is like meeting people. I mean, that's how I got into DG in the first place. Was I met Green Ants in another project, and we started talking about this, and we went in together at the same time. And then I've been joining guilds with other guys. But yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've seen real life faces. It's since I joined my NFT journey. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird, all right? We live in like this kind of almost anonymous. I mean, I don't feel like I keep myself anonymous when I'm posting on Twitter, but I have a NFT profile picture, and I go by Happy Daddy. It's like, but I'm not trying to hide my name. It's just, I don't know. It's part of the game, isn't it? It's all part of the fun. You can kind of be whoever you want to be in the metaverse.
Right. You can kind of pick your own level of anonymity. You can pick, however, what level of anonymousness. What's the word I'm looking for there?
Anonymity.
Anonymity. There we go. Nailed it. All right. And you can choose your level, right? So all four of us here, we're putting our faces out there, and that's our choice. But people are also just as welcome to, stay completely anonymous. Use a VPN on every browser they ever, you can just pick wherever your comfort level is. And I think it's kind of cool to have the connection between other guild owners, essentially. It's kind of what we're calling, because I think we're kind of getting to that point in the ecosystem where it's kind of like, people have a serious foothold, and people are taking this seriously. And I think there's power in people coming together, and forming like, I was thinking of possibilities just this morning, like group discords, or but we'll see what happens. It's kind of just the beginning, so it's kind of cool.
This is the thing, we were talking yesterday in the owners chat about possibly doing a meeting in Europe with all the owners.
Right.
So I think that will be sooner or rather than later, because of the whole pandemic restrictions and everything. And regarding to what neighbor was saying before, like I was in a guild like a few weeks ago, and one of the guys from that guild knew me in real life, but I didn't know who he is. And up to this day, he wouldn't tell me who he is, but he knows me, and he knows me well. And that's a bit freaky when people know you, but you don't know who they are. But I think it's part of the game, and that's the beauty of it, because you each day, even if you play or you go on Discord, you make new friends. You just have to be friendly, and it's impossible not to meet new faces and make new friends.
Absolutely. Bitcoin J, we got started a little bit early there, but the question was just thinking through and just getting your thoughts on like what it's been like to exist in a world that is kind of like anonymous, semi-anonymous, and like making friends. And we were just saying like this is one of the first times we've really or the other gents on the stream have really like been putting faces to names, and everything's kind of like PFP and cartoony. So I just wanted to kind of get everybody's thoughts on that.
Yeah, man. And what's up to everybody? I am Jay. Sorry that I'm a little bit late here. A lot of traffic down here in Miami. But yeah, man. I mean, I've been in the crypto scene since like 2016 or so. And the first like 3 or 4 years that I was in it, there really wasn't, in real life, I didn't have too many people to actually share and talk to about it. So, um, you know, all my communication and all my real interactions and like learning about it and talking about it with people has been online, has been through crypto, like, either social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and now, the metaverse. So it's definitely been something that's been crazy, and it's crazy to see how much it's evolving more and more, as we continue to innovate in the space. And I'm super excited for what the future holds, to just continue and building this. And I've definitely met a lot of people, online, uh, that I consider friends, just as I consider friends as someone, that I know in real life, even though I've never met them. So it's pretty crazy.
I was just about to ask, like, when you guys are thinking about making friends in the metaverse and spending time here, like, what actually draws you guys to certain communities? Like, what's the pull for you guys? What are you really looking for? Because I think it's going to be increasingly important as we continue down this road of building out the metaverse, of like, groups are going to form, communities are going to form, and the strength of those communities are like, those are our tribes. So like, what really draws you guys to a community?
I think that's a really good question, because I think it's going to be really different probably for all of us. The same reason, why we're probably all attracted to NFTs is probably quite different. For me, it really only started with utility behind the NFTs and, the metaverse, which is still like super early. Like when I try and explain that to people, I don't really have a clear picture to give them of what that looks like, because, I feel like we're all still building it out. This project's a great example. So those are the kind of communities I'm drawn to, but also projects where we see a lot of just community projects with NFT. That seems to be kind of the going. Anyone can start just a community project with no real utility. So I could look for a certain balance between the two. I'm not really interested in projects which are just purely community based. I do want to get something out of my NFT. But there are community projects where it's like, the utility of your NFT is kind of just, you have this group of people that you all have the same NFT, and then, future utilities, it's going to be integrated with certain metaverses and stuff. And for me, that's what's most exciting, is that there is already a group of people, 10 to 20,000 people in a lot of cases. We're all going on this journey together. One of the NFTs I just got, it's going to like have compatibility with World Wide Web, or whatever it's called, Web3, something like one of these new metaverses that I haven't tried yet. But once that's got compatibility, I then have a reason to try this metaverse with 10,000 other people, and that's what excites me. I'm not just doing it by myself. It's very easy to join a group of like-minded people, and sort of experience it together.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think there's there has to be a kind of perfect balance to be struck if you want to build a lasting community, because I think we've all seen communities in the past that are built purely for financial incentive, and they're just so fragile. One thing goes wrong and all of a sudden someone sells, and we've all seen that happen, where it just collapses, because there's no other incentive to hold other than if this is worth a lot of money or not. And you have to have a balance between that financial incentive and a community incentive as well, where there's some kind of social gratification that comes from an interaction. And it's funny because even when I'm playing ice poker, for example, some people get furious at the table, and I actually like that, just because it's so human, like that is a real experience. And then some people will try to calm him down. It's a real social experience, it's like someone is in the room getting angry. Some people try to calm him down. Other people are free to laugh at him. That is an actual social experience, even though it's just chat. I'll sometimes just sit there laughing because it's it truly is like Web3 kind of. It's like Metaverse, we're having a true social interaction in a virtual space. So I think that's why I'm so attached to DG and the ice poker, and why I'm such a believer in it is because I think it has kind of struck a chord in between those two things, where it's it has a great financial incentive, a well built, it's well structured, and it also has that social gratification of you're getting some, not as real as sitting down and talking to someone and having a physical interaction, but it's pretty good. It's different. It's not the same as a physical interaction, but it's interesting to be a part of it and just kind of be in the middle of it right now. So we'll see where it goes. Who knows?
I would say pretty much what the other two guys said. I think, first of all, the community has to be helpful, because this way it's easier to get new people in. After that, I think even the trolls are part of the community and we need them. Shout out to Jared. But I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but even people like Jared pull the community together, because the hate that he gets, not talking if it's on purpose or not, but it brings people together, and we cannot deny that.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
so even the trolls are part of the community, and I think with all the good and bad that currently we have right now, I think we're on the right path to something good.
Right.
So we can't just have the good parts without having the small bad parts as well along the line. It's all how we deal with them. And what neighbor said, like, you probably guys played online poker before on a real money website. Have you played in ice when a guy wins every hand and he starts flipping the money? That tilts the shit out of me. So that part of interaction, like, you wouldn't normally expect it to be like that. It gets you that extra incentive that you can tell somebody just by doing certain things at the table. But yeah, regarding the community, that's my point. That's my point of view. Sorry.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a tricky balance to communities, because I've been in, and communities are now all built basically on Discords at this point. And I've been in Discords where there is just too much like spamming and stuff like that, where you really like, what's the point of checking when the messages are just flying and it's just all nonsense most of the time. And then I've been in Discords where everything's a little bit more, I guess, organized, and people are a little bit more helpful. So I think when the community is focuses more on the education and on being helpful, and I think that's kind of what builds the best communities. And I think the number one thing probably to build communities is the overall transparency. And I think that's something that DG has excelled in with showing their treasuries and giving us weekly and even daily updates on everything that's going on, everything that the team's working on. And I think that's why they've been able to build such a great community right now. And it's that transparency, I think, that goes the furthest in a world of crypto where you don't know who's on the other side of the computer. You know what I mean? It's everybody's anonymous, right? So I think transparency probably goes the furthest when trying to set up and build a successful community.
Yeah, I love that. So, what questions do you guys have for each other? Because I've been asking the questions thus far, but I really want to hear more from you guys.
I'm actually kind of curious where you guys live, because I don't know, it seems random. You don't have to give me your address, but I'm in San Diego, California. So I'm in Southern California in the United States, and I'm just kind of curious what sample we have here. Yeah.
I'm in Pitești city in Romania. So you have Romania.
Romania.
UK, South UK, Bournemouth on the coast. Best beach in England.
Okay.
I'm on the other side of the United States, Florida, Miami, Florida.
Okay. All
Yeah, we
right.
ain't got Miami beaches, but they're pretty good. Ain't got that Miami weather either.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. Romania, the UK, South UK, and both sides of the US. So that's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, pretty
Cool.
well spread out.
Yeah.
Over 4 different time zones, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's true, actually.
I was
Is-
wondering how involved you guys are in like crypto and NFT in like your regular lives, because you know a lot of people I speak to in the DG community are managing guilds and still working like a 9 to 5. Like I know B-Nun's got like 50 odd plus wearables, and he says he works 9 to 5. Like it's a lot for him to try and manage 50 odd wearables. You know, he raised the point like it's not passive income when you have 50 odd wearables to try and manage. Like it actually requires quite a bit of work. And me personally, you know, I mean, I quit my job in 2019 to try and focus on things that were really important to me. And I've kind of been going from project to project over the years. And then I've always had crypto in my back pocket. And now NFTs over the last couple of months consume, you know, a lot of my time. Not just managing the guild, but just spending a lot of time in the space, talking to communities, and you know other projects I'm in have a lot of stuff going on. So at the moment, I would say you know NFT stuff consumes probably like 70% of my time at the moment. I was just wondering, you know, how it fits into you guys' lives.
Well, I mean, we have a pretty similar story. I quit my job. I was just serving tables in 2019 when I first got into crypto, and just kind of hit a few, you know, good flips in the beginning, and gave me confidence that I could just kind of continue to do this. You know, I value my time, and I've been very fortunate just to kind of have a lot of it since I switched to crypto, you know, and I got into NFTs at just when the wearables started, though. I kind of kicked myself because I never looked into what NFTs could truly be until the wearables came out, because I already was invested in DG. So now DG was doing something with it. So I figure I should actually look into it. And, you know, if I had gotten in a few months earlier, who knows what would have happened. But I'm glad I got in when I did. And I don't see any stopping NFTs at this point. You know, they might slow down for a bit, but they'll be back. There's just too much to be done in the space. And that's kind of the broad spectrum view I have on all crypto. Is just there's too much opportunity. There's too much to be done. So the hardest part is just picking the project that's going to perform, because there's so many great ideas. And that's why having a transparent team like Jay mentioned earlier is also hugely important, because we know what they're working on. We know what they're what they've accomplished so far, and it's all looking green for DG, in my opinion. So happy to be here in almost every regard. Yeah.
Now, for me, I got pretty late back into crypto. Like I told a bit my story in the podcast, but basically my new road began back in December. I think we did the podcast back in January, right, Ben?
I think so.
Since then,
Yeah.
I became an owner, and since I became an owner, I started doing my research more on different projects. Uh, I have a background in computer science. I still have certain doubts on NFT projects in general, but I think this will be the year in which NFTs will have a breakout, because if we're gonna have market like most of the experts say somewhere this year, I think the only projects that will thrive during this time frame will be the ones which are backed by stable communities. And this is where the NFTs with the utility comes in. And I think these will be the only projects that will thrive, while the whole market won't see a move in months, maybe. So I really think that everything that you invest now and even later this year, it will pay off a lot over the next few years because the adoption is here. I mean, we see it day by day. We see big companies. We see it everywhere around us. We see a lot of people who have no clue about crypto talking about NFTs. And just imagine most of the people have no clue about NFTs, don't even know that some NFTs can have utility. They just know that NFTs are some JPEGs that some people that have no idea about tech say, oh, but you can save it.
Right.
If we're gonna have this talk 1 year from now, we'll see a much more adoption on a larger scale. So that's pretty much my view. I really think it's for the future, and I really think everyone should do their own research on different projects because right now you just have to search and do your own research. There are a lot of projects. It's up to you.
And how much of your time is spent on NFTs and in the crypto space on a day to day?
Probably about 2 hours, to be honest. Somewhere close to 2 hours.
Yeah, I've been doing crypto full time since 2017. Back then I was doing a bunch of different, living the entrepreneurial lifestyle, just have a bunch of side jobs basically is what I was doing. I think at that time I was already investing. I was like investing in stocks and stuff. And then I got into crypto probably in 2016. In 2017, when everything went crazy, I was able to basically just focus completely on crypto and got out of everything else. I've always been a trader, so that was my main focus back then, just trading. So I do a lot of, and I still to this day do a lot of trading. I built up a community basically because one of the things that I had trouble with when I first got into the scene was, really finding a simple way to understand crypto. So I built an Instagram page basically around that. And not only have I been able to help people, but I've also by doing that, I've been able to educate myself even further because I do a lot more research and I dive into a lot of things a lot more so that I can educate other people. So I work on crypto basically 24/7. I have a lot of different projects. I have a YouTube channel. I have my Instagram. I have a Discord. So I'm literally working in crypto at all times, all the time, creating content and doing all different sorts of stuff. So, yeah, it's literally my life.
That's badass.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the dream.
That's cool, dude.
So I have a quick question, and then I want to hand it back to you guys to ask anything else that y'all want to ask. But thinking about like crypto, obviously, is an entirely new financial system, and there's so many different currencies, so many different places to put your cash, put your capital rather, and there's so many ways to go about it. But at least in the U.S., we still sometimes need dollars to survive. Like a lot of if you rent an apartment, like you need dollars to like pay rent, or if you're buying a house, like maybe you have to throw some Bitcoin or ETH into a money market and then buy or borrow against it, and then cash that out and go buy your own house, or something like that. So how do you guys think about it in terms of like being so deep into crypto? Obviously we're all super early adopters because we're here right now having this conversation, but still having to like think of part of your life in terms of dollars. Like how do you organize that in your brain and navigate that?
I mean, I've got it pretty set at the moment where I only really work enough hours in the real world to get paid what I need to survive in the real world, So really I work like part-time hours here and there, and it's enough to pay like my rent and food on a monthly basis, and enough to go do things. And then my whole crypto space is just savings. I mentioned on my podcast episode I haven't, apart from to buy myself a new phone recently, that's the first time I've actually taken out some dollars from crypto in like 8 years. So that's kind of how I try and handle my finances at the moment. I would like to shift completely into, entirely making money in the metaverse, and getting there bit by bit. And when I did sell some ice the other day, I wanted to buy the phone. It took me 10 to 20 minutes to work out the best way to do it, how I'm going to get the best rate. It cost me, I took out something like $2,000 worth of ice, and it cost me maybe like $30 to $40 worth of fees overall. And like most of that was just the Coinbase fee. They charged something like $30, and then it was like $10 was just transferring the ETH from MetaMask to Coinbase, because everything else was pretty much Matic, pretty much cost nothing. And so I thought the process was awesome. I was like, I couldn't believe, from earning ice in the game, from claiming my ice to having it in my banking app. That was just the first time. If I did it now, I could have it done in 10 minutes, easy. Again, the slowest part of the process is just Coinbase paying it out. So I thought that was pretty good. I try not to take money out, but seeing how easy it was, if I see another Quest 2's looking pretty tasty at the moment, I kind of want to get one. That could be. But I also want to get my diamond hands. I can't spend money in the real world because I got to get my diamond hands, man. That's the goal. So yeah, that's how I'm managing it at the moment.
Yeah, there's a few different avenues to just kind of convert. I mean, now that ETH gas fees are lower than $500 a transaction, it's actually not terrible to go from Matic back to ETH. So yeah, I know Binance US for Jay and I works to convert. I don't often have to, but in the future I may. So we'll see. I'm kind of riding on some long-term savings at the moment, but hopefully there's a easier bridge, or I'm just trying to avoid capital gains tax. That's the other trick, because if you are converting any currency of any kind, you have to hold it for a year. So unless you're directly converting USDC that you bought last year into dollars or pounds or whatever, then you're probably going to have to pay a capital gains tax on that. So avoiding that is the trick, really, because it's so easy to fall into that. And once you sell it, the cat's out of the bag, so you can't really do anything about it once you've sold that crypto. So it can be kind of tricky. Taxes are going to be not fun this year, I imagine, for most of us. So.
I'm dreading it. Hey, I've already kind of done a little check through like Coinly to see where I'm at, and I mean, I'm going to be selling some crypto when that time comes. That's for sure.
And NFTs, whenever that becomes like a mandatory part of it, like they don't really know.
I pay my tax in Australia. And NFTs are treated just like any other digital asset. Anytime an asset is burned or exchanged or anything, like anytime I bridge, well, actually, no, I don't know about bridging. I should look into that because that's ETH to ETH. But
are you a citizen of Australia as well?
Yeah. So I live in Australia. I'm just back in England since 2019, but we'll be going back to Australia. So because I bought all my crypto.
I'm actually an Australian citizen as well.
Oh yeah, it's a handy one to have.
Not we won't go on a tangent or anything, but I think that's an interesting little.
So I have to pay all my capital gain. I pay like tax for that I earn in England here, but capital gains, it's the Aussies that track me, and they know, man. Aussies are on top of it. I get a letter every year saying, "Hey, we know you owe. We got your address, man. So don't mess around."
Wow.
So yeah. This year's going to be the first year I actually owe something, because I've always been underneath the threshold. But yeah, no, I've been buying and selling and trading. I mean, technically, I have to pay tax every time I claim ice, technically. But, we'll see.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that.
I don't want to say too much on this live podcast.
Anyways.
Yeah, that would definitely be that's definitely a taxable event. But yeah, the way I have I set mine up, since I set up a business, I set up an S corporation, and I set up one of my businesses that I do within crypto, which is basically like a mentorship thing that I do. I charge that in dollars, and then I just basically live off of that. Like that's what I use as my budget, my monthly budget for living expenses. And I probably haven't taken out crypto in a while. It's been probably years since I've actually cashed out of crypto into anything else, into like fiat. Um, Other than I try to keep part of my portfolio in cash for when we have dips, to buy them. So I usually try to keep around 10% of my portfolio in cash. That's the only tricky part for me because like in the US, we have basically Gemini and Coinbase as the main options, and the fees are just ridiculous. I know I tried to go into cash from Bitcoin before we had this big drop because we had lost like a big trend line that I was following, and so I wanted to get into cash on some of my positions, and it was like a $2,000 fee for me to get into cash, like not even to send to my bank account. I just wanted to go. I was using Gemini at the time, and I wanted to get out of some of my position out of Bitcoin into cash. I think it was maybe one Bitcoin or something, and they were going to charge me $2,000 just to try to get into USD, basically. And I tweeted the Winklevoss twins. I'm like, dude, like this is ridiculous. This is exactly why crypto exists, so that we can stop this BS. Like this is BS. You're doing exactly what banks are doing. Like why are you charging me $2,000 just to go from Bitcoin into USD? So so I had to basically transfer, send that Bitcoin to Qcoin, and on Qcoin I was able to set up like a limit order and sell it, and I paid under $100 in fees basically when I did that. So there's definitely still ways, like if you're trying to go from Bitcoin or any type of crypto into cash, you have to kind of know how to navigate the ways. If not, you're going to be paying a lot of money in fees. But that's why I try to avoid it as much as possible. I have majority of my crypto is long term. I earn a lot of crypto in various ways, and I don't ever sell. I just kind of keep building up my positions. And I have part of my business that I already have a S corp set up for that, where I charge credit card transactions, and that goes in through my business, and I pay myself out of that. So I could use some of the business loopholes that they're set up. So yeah, so I guess it comes with time in the business. I've learned all the different little tricks that you can try to do to alleviate that as much as possible.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. It's going to be, I mean, everybody will be talking about this. The more integrated crypto becomes with the existing government systems, then this is just going to be the more and more commonplace topic, because this is we're especially us as guild owners or just wearable owners, we're going to be making consistent money this entire year via income, via ice poker income. So this is all very important info for us specifically. But yeah,
you can't mess around when it comes to taxes, man. Especially in the crypto space. I mean, it's the blockchain. It's the beauty, and the bad part of the blockchain is that every single transaction is trackable, and I'm sure the government have a system that'll just do it for them. The minute you use an exchange, your name and ID is registered, and then every single address that you send to from there is very easily trackable, especially for a bot. It's just a script that will just run on your address and bring it up. I mean, my tax website does it, right? I just put in the addresses that I use, and it calculates my Australian crypto tax return for me. So if that website can do it, the government are doing it too. And you don't mess around with your taxes.
No one wants to get audited. That's the greatest fear. So yeah.
That's right. So I want to first, Alan, I want to give you a chance to answer that last question. Then I want to kind of pivot a little bit into the metaverse and just kind of talk about that for a little bit.
Because I'm pretty much new in a crypto space, I don't have a lot of savings in crypto. But basically, right now, I have a bit of savings in real life. I have most of my money right now tied in crypto. I plan on keeping it in crypto for the long run. And whenever I need some cash in real life, for me, the easiest way is to use Binance. And I also have the credit card from them. So even if I want to pay with crypto, like you said, for adoption, you could do that, but it's not feasible because you pay a lot of fees. But you can transform, you can convert your crypto from crypto to fiat, and then you can just withdraw it. So it's like it takes you 5 minutes, not more than that. And just as a joke, I repeat, it's a joke. You guys are from developed countries in which your governments work properly. That's just what I want to say. So that is not applicable everywhere in the world, and people who watch this probably know that already. I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying, if Tommy, if you think countries in Eastern Europe have software to track transactions, they still have their records on paper, so they don't have a digitalized system. How can they track anything?
That's a
So,
fair point.
and this comes also in the discussion for adoption, because you have some states which want to be at the EU standards, but they don't have anything digital inside right now. And this is not a problem just for my country. I bet a lot of countries around the world still have problems like this one.
Oh, for sure.
Mm.
But that's actually part of what I think is the draw of crypto, because a lot of times what we see in like hyper developed countries like something like the US is that it's like it goes from cash to credit to crypto, and in countries that are still developing, I think we actually might even see skipping of credit and going from like a cash base almost straight to crypto. And that actually may even accelerate some of the development, because I think we can all recognize this is like a generational lifetime opportunity for us, for all of us, and we're so early on. Like, I'm kind of hoping that a lot of the governments that maybe don't have as big of a competitive advantage now are like, wow, crypto could be our advantage. And that would, I think that would open up a lot of doors, make it a lot easier for the people there.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
But even to put it in perspective, what I just said, so even for well-developed countries, uh, let's say you have crypto, Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever, and you have a friend who wants to get in the crypto space. Most of them are not tech savvy. They have no clue about how to use an exchange or anything like that. So then you can interact with them and basically give them crypto for real life money. I don't know how
Hmm.
legal is that in all the countries, if it's legal or not, but that's probably basically the legislation in each country right now.
Yeah, like in person crypto transactions, like how does that work? Like I can sell someone, I can sell someone anything in my house for money and not report that. But if I sell someone, $100 worth of ICE tokens in real life, is that
Yeah,
obviously
but
that I
I,
think
I'm
that's different, but I don't know.
I'm just saying, for example, if you send somebody 100 ice, right?
Right.
Is that transaction taxable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In our country, in the United States, it would be. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, in
All right.
Australia, I'd have to prove either that I still own it,
Proof of funds.
or I'd pay tax on it. Yeah,
Right.
even if I did it in cash, because they would still see in my address that, well, you registered it out, either prove that you own that address, pay taxes for everything on that address, or just pay tax for that one transaction that you sent to that address.
Right. Yeah.
Fascinating. So oh, sorry, neighbor.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, it's all you.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of shift our conversation a little bit more to the metaverse, because it's not very often where we get so many big brains in on one call. I really want to maximize our time together. And just thinking about the metaverse as like, I think we all see what's coming here. Humanity is moving towards digital. Digital is the metaverse. Humanity, therefore, is moving towards the metaverse. That is our end game. Like, everything's going to become more virtual. We're going to spend more time there. We're going to do business there. We're going to play games there. We're going to like have communities. Everything is going to happen in the metaverse. And I think that is the most important innovation, the most important opportunity of literally all of our lifetimes. And for those people who also recognize that, but don't really know how to best act on it and like how to best take advantage of it or position themselves, how do you guys think through, okay, I see this is coming, I want to be on the forefront or I want to participate in some way? Like, how do you guys think about your own um, participation in the metaverse and how to best be prepared to not let the opportunity pass you by?
Yeah, it's a great question. And for me, the journey at the moment is very much, it's still early days. It's unfolding as we go. So for me, it's all about exploring. With all the not necessarily new NFT projects that you're going to have to pay to get involved with, but the development of these metaverses, Sandbox, DG, NFT worlds. Is that a metaverse? I don't know, but it's blowing up on OpenSea at the moment, so I assumed so. So things like that, like exploring, right? Getting stuck in. I mean, I've only really just started exploring Decentraland since I got invested in ICE, and it's still like so much going on in there. I was playing some pool game the other day. And the way I see it is, this new technology is opened up a whole space for artists. Essentially, we've got architects, people, real life architects, and people that are so used to building things in the real world that now have this entire digital space to work with, and um, that's where I'm at. I try to just kind of be along for the ride and look for what certain people like, Miles, what he's created in this space is just incredible. And there's other projects like, I don't want to shill while we're here, but those are the kind of things I look for, is like a real team of artists which are using this space to their disposal and really exploring what you can do with not just the technology but a community, and it's shaping the future as we go. I find it so hard to picture what this is going to be like in 1 to 2 years, because we don't have a year or two previously to look back on and compare, um, and things like ICE DG is such a great example for what is possible. And the fact that it's become so established in such a short period of time, and the trajectory of the entire project, I think is really going to set the bar for other projects to want to enter this space, set the bar really high as well.
It's easy to feel like it's already too late, right? Or everyone feels like they wish they got in a little earlier. So I think the biggest key, you said, the question was something like, you don't want to feel like you're missing out on something right in front of you. Well, the key to avoiding that feeling and avoiding missing out in general is just going to be involvement. And there's no specific, and you have to be general about it, because there's not really no specific, hey, this is how you win. But the more involved you are in emerging industries, the more potential you have to be successful, in my opinion. And not all projects are winners. That's very clear. But the more projects that you are truly looking into, not just joining the Discord, glancing at it for a minute and never thinking about it again, but take a thoughtful look into what a project is offering, and that is involvement in and of itself. Just being unbiased when you're looking at things, But the more time you spend in the community, the more likely you are to find that winner. And that's all you can control too, really. You can't control which projects are going to win, but you can control where you're spending your time. And I think the metaverse, whatever that becomes in the future, is going to be a very profitable industry for anybody who's just now getting involved here at the beginning of 2022. I think a lot of people are just getting involved right now, and in a few years they're going to be staples of the community, you know. So or even sooner than that, you know, a few months even. So this is just the beginning. And yeah, get involved. That's really the key.
Yeah, I think if you do involve yourself with these communities as well, I see it all the time in communities that I'm in, people that don't necessarily own an NFT. That doesn't mean you're not involved in the community, right? That's the beauty of these spaces, is anyone can join a Discord, and it's up to you how involved you want to be. You know, these people that will grind for a community because they really believe in the project, but they don't necessarily have the funds to buy in, will always be rewarded just from being in the community. You'll become like a known name. You know, half the people that names that I know in the Discord aren't NFT owners, but they're more active than the NFT owners because, you know, they're in the project purely because they love it at that point. They're not just some random person who's bought it because they plan on flipping it down the line that really don't care about the project. These people are really dedicated to the project, and most of the time you'll be rewarded if it's a good project with a good community. The community will look out for the community. You'll make friends. You'll be involved. Yeah, I think that's the thing people often will overlook, is that you don't have to own the NFT. There's a lot more to these communities than just owning the asset, with good projects anyway. Obviously, doesn't apply to everyone, but something to consider.
Alan J.
I think this is just the beginning. Like, I started getting back into crypto thanks to poker. I quit my day job thanks to ICE and DG. And right now, I'm just looking at future streams of income that I could tap in. For example, I went from the freelance life to the employed life back to the freelance life. And I plan on keeping it like that because I love it. I love my free time. I love my personal space. I'm a photographer myself, but I knew about NFTs. I knew about that you can sell your art through NFTs, but I never tapped into that source of income yet. So everything that I plan on doing from this point on, this year, and even next year, I think it will mostly be crypto related because I really think this will be the future. And regarding communities, I don't think I can add anything else more than Tommy and Neighbor said, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the best way, like what Neighbor said, you know, you have to be involved, you have to be in it. Um, you know, what's that saying? You got to be in it to win it. So it's kind of how, you know, how this is, how crypto is overall. You know, not just metaverse and NFTs, but um, you know, anything crypto overall, or anything you really want to become knowledgeable in, you need to kind of put the time in. You know, the issue with a lot of people that I've come across is that they don't want to put in the time that it takes in order to you know, be around it enough where you can see and you can learn how to find projects that are really great opportunities. You know, you basically, that's what it comes down to, I think, when, you know, being able to invest in the right projects and how to find the right projects. You have to be in it for, you have to put in the time first. You have to kind of, you know, develop that sense of knowing what to look for in projects. um, you have to, so, you know, for that you need to put in time. You have to know, be around the community. You know, you're not gonna, if you're isolated on your own, you're not gonna find these things. um, and you just have to be prepared. Once the opportunity shows up, you got to be prepared. They say, and then at the end of the day, people are going to call you lucky. And again, you know, luck is when what's the saying? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So that's really all it comes down to. People are always asking me, what's the next project that's gonna blow up? I'm like, I don't know yet. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, I don't just have like a list of projects that I can just check off. Be like, oh yeah, number one is this one. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's kind of, a lot of it is, you just gotta be in it. You know what I mean? And you can't try to depend on other people to do that work for you. So I think, if you really want to be on that boat and on the train when it takes off, you have to dive into the community. You got to put the time in, and you got to do the legwork yourself so that it pays off, in the future.
Love it. Well, gents, I know we're approaching time here. I want to give a quick shout out to the community. Quick Draw, 4K, Usub, Luca, Keena Boy, and everybody else that's tuning in here live. Y'all totally rock. And gents on the roundtable here, super grateful for you guys sharing some of your time. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm just really grateful for you guys. Really glad we're all part of this community together.
I'm happy to be here, and it was really cool to meet you guys and just kind of have a chat amongst some like-minded people. I know we're all here for the long run, and we'll probably have more of these in the future. So it's nice to meet you guys.
I'm interested. How many of you guys actually play as well as? I know Alan, neighbor, do you play as well? Jay, do you play?
Yeah.
Do you just?
I play every day. Yeah.
I play sometimes. If I might have a free wearable that nobody's using, and I'll play with it if I have time. Other than that, I'm mostly delegating.
Yeah. You sound really busy, Jay. So I don't blame you at all, man. You sound like you got a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just content creation takes a lot of time, man. That's the issue with me. My thing is time, because I'm basically creating content from when I wake up till I go to sleep. So, and I'm trading in between, and I'm doing whatever else, So,
you're making ice passively though, the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I'm constantly making videos about it, trying to get it out there to the world. So, I think once a month I do a video, how much I made on, passively with Decentral Games. I think last month in January, I did just under $2,000 with 4 wearables, just delegating them out. I think it was like $1,900, something like that. And I'm expecting, I finally was able to get another wearable in the last drop. So excited about that. So now let's see, how it goes this month. And then, in the beginning of next month, I'll do another video on that. So I'm constantly trying to put this stuff out there, man, for the people. I made my first video about Decentral Games, I think in December or so. And I think that one has around 25,000 views or something. And I'm just trying to get it out to as many people as possible at this point, man, because it's definitely an opportunity.
I think
DG content. Yeah. It's I think DG content on YouTube is like really important as well for getting people into it, because whenever someone asks me about it, I'm like, go to YouTube, watch the video, they'll explain it a lot better, because there's a lot to it. So yeah,
I'll link your video if anyone asks me, Jay. Okay, so I'll use your video to link to it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, appreciate it. My YouTube is Bitcoin Daily, for those of you that might not know. Cool. That's also my Instagram, so you guys can check it out.
Nice. Gonna jump.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, guys.
Thanks for putting this together, Ben, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Absolutely. All right, homies. Appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Everybody in the chat, love you all. Decentral Gamers.